unit plan on the Spanish flu. Just like every other history class, the goal of our unit plan is to have students achieve a greater understanding of how the choices of the past and present can have severe and long-lasting consequences. In order to achieve this goal, students will critically compare and contrast the public health response to the 1918 Spanish flu with the COVID-19 pandemic. Students will also be able to identify the different factors unique to the early 1900s that contributed to the spread and eventual containment of the Spanish flu. Despite the fact that there are significant historical differences between 1918 and 2020, students will quickly be able to recognize the alarming cultural and political similarities between the two pandemics. We believe the best way to help students critically analyze the Spanish flu is through activities that are geared toward making contemporary connections and through the reflection of their own personal observations and experiences during the COVID-19 pandemic. By critically comparing the cultural, political, and social similarities of both pandemics, students will be able to make their own well-informed conclusions on how the COVID-19 crisis was handled. Our unit plan will adhere to the World History Common Core standards. Students will be able to conduct short as well as more sustained research projects to answer a question, including a self-generated question, or solve a problem, narrow or broaden the inquiry when appropriate, synthesize multiple sources on the subject, demonstrating understanding of the subject under investigation, draw evidence from informational texts to support analysis, reflection, and research, write informative, explanatory text including the narration of historical events, scientific procedures and experiments, or technical processes. According to Bell Gredler, meaningful learnings occur when knowledge stored in the long-term memory is shifted to short-term memory to integrate new information into the mind. Learning is based on changes in the perceptual process. Thus, true learning or insight occurs when the individual perceives new relationships within the field. To help students better understand the Spanish flu, students will use their current knowledge and experience with COVID-19 and integrate it with new information they learned from the Spanish flu. With the understanding of what is happening in 2020, students will be able to shift the knowledge of both pandemics to their long-term memory. The behaviorist theories of Skinner and Thorndike tell us that students are receptive to both positive and negative reinforcements, and that their future behavior can be predicted by their past experiences with negative or positive consequences. While negative reinforcements can incentivize students, we will focus more on using positive reinforcements to incentivize students. We believe the best way to implement behaviorist theories is to have students associate our lessons with positive experiences. We can create positive stimuli-response connections through engaging activities such as Jeopardy and group projects. Instruction for our unit plan will be tailored towards learners in the concrete and formal operational stages. Because students are in a transitional phase between the concrete and formal stages, educational instruction and evaluation must reflect the class's cognitive abilities. Students will be working to understand abstract moral, philosophical, ethical, social, and political issues. Their personal experience living through the current pandemic will help bridge the gap between abstract and hypothetical understanding of the human reaction, tragedy, and mitigation of the 1918 Spanish flu. Bruner emphasizes the ability to analyze a person's own narrative as visible cognitive achievement. By comparing and contrasting the pandemics of history and current world events, students will learn history through a modern understanding of the pandemic response. Student reflection of their own experience during COVID-19 will be used as a tool of self-narrative that will help add life to the historical narrative of the Spanish flu, and vice versa. Through personal questionnaires about the student's own experiences during a pandemic, interactive activities to teach the facts of the Spanish flu, and group research projects, we aim to reinforce learning through repetition in engaging ways. Throughout the unit plan, students will quickly see the similarities between the social and cultural attitudes of 1918 and 2020. Topics such as the Anti-Mask League in San Francisco and misinformation from elected government officials in 1918 will highlight the similarities between the two pandemics, as well as reaffirm Locke's idea that people seldom reason at all, but do and think according to the example of others. While social learning theories cannot fully define or explain behavioral development, can still contribute to our understanding of how people used to think and how they think now. Students will understand how the cultural, political, and social environment contributed to the thought processes of different individuals during the Spanish flu. Critical thinking is not a single skill that can be easily taught, but can be done with a combination of intuition, prior knowledge, and cause and effect deducement. To overcome the barriers that prevent critical thinking, students will be given problem-based learning activities that involve personal discovery of information. Given the personal involvement in the current pandemic, students will develop a self-corrective manner of thinking, where they will be able to identify the policies that help the current crisis and the policies that could have stopped the 1918 crisis, and vice versa. Involving a variety of perspectives, both historical and personal, combined with the historical and scientific lessons, this unit aims to teach students to approach large and complex societal events with reasoning and reflection. Following the investment theory of creativity can guide the steps for a complete understanding of the direct relationship and differences between the Spanish flu and COVID-19. Our activities will be marked by all the steps of the investment theory of creativity. We believe these activities, coinciding with current world events, will be a great opportunity to draw upon aspects of creative and emotional intelligence. In these activities, students' ability to be aware of, to understand, and to express oneself, the ability to be aware of, to understand, and to relate to others, the ability to deal with strong emotions and control one's impulses, and the ability to adapt to change and to solve problems of a personal or social nature, will impact their ability to view the 1918 Spanish flu from a position of leadership.